Hi there. Thanks so much for joining us. It's our pleasure having you on board as we journey through the pages of this weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Today we explore new developments and plans for Jamaica's aviation industry, as well as students coping with online learning. Plus, Healthwise gives answers to your questions on the COVID-19 vaccines and why you should get the vax. Stay with us for these and more interesting features after this important message.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I'm saying to every single Jamaican, you will decide how this pandemic ends. If you wear your mask, if you maintain the physical distance, and if you decide to take the vaccines when it is your time, the pandemic will end. But if in frustration or just ignorance, we do not take responsibility, then the pandemic could end badly, including the loss of more lives.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Aviation is an important industry to the Jamaican economy. In recognition of this, government has been pursuing new developments and plans to advance the industry. We'll hear more about some of these plans in our feature.
With regards to general aviation, I think it is the first time for such a long time, Captain, that so much activity is going on in general aviation.
It's easy to let our imaginations run to just over a century ago, when the aviation industry was learning to fly. Today, while it flies much further, it's showing us how it underpins social networks, using its wings to bring economic growth, jobs, international trade and tourism much closer than ever before. It's truly the same for Jamaica's aviation industry, and the expansion of our air transport industry is non-stop. Safe to say that the future for local aviation is taking off. Having recognized how aviation advances mobility and impacts development, government has big plans to further develop our airports and aerodromes.
Our police officers are getting a first world facility at Ian Fleming.
Over in St. Mary, Transport Minister Robert Montague dangled the key for a newly constructed police station at the Ian Fleming International Airport to serve the airport and the neighboring communities. So if you're flying this route, your security has already been prioritized.
At Ian Fleming, we spent some $48 million on this building, and it is giving us 2,500 square feet of space, moving from 750 to 2,500 square feet for the hard-working men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
But that's just one step towards developing the Ian Fleming International Airport, because the Airports Authority of Jamaica is scheduled to spend an additional $100 million to create a new fire station and expand the sewage facility at this airport.
We can't be moving to expand and attract business, and we can't treat with the sewage. So we are making that investment.
Safe to say that for many Jamaicans, the Norman Manley International Airport may feel like a sufficient enabler of global business, a nicely packaged aviation feature. But developments for this airport are also taking off.
The Airports Authority is investing in Jamaica. We are investing some $550 million into the Norman Manley International Airport in doing some expansion work and also doing the seawall protection.
Added to that, there are also plans to extend the runway so that path where the wheels of Metal Bird meet the ground is marked to become just a bit longer. Of course, there are those from all corners of the world, tourists who just cannot wait to land on the brightly lit tarmac in the northern part of the country. The Sangster International Airport has become famously known as tourism's main entryway to Jamaica, and that runway too is scheduled to be lengthened, along with other major improvements for the area.
At the Donald Sangster International Airport, we are spending approximately $70 million. Let me put it out there quietly. 70 million US dollars. To not only improve the runway and lengthen it, but most importantly to me as minister, to expand the arrivals hall.
Our travel continues to the southwest end of the island, to the parish reputed as the breadbasket of Jamaica, St. Elizabeth. Here you'll find the more private flights via the Lionel Densham Aerodrome, and this too is to undergo many developments to meet the future needs of aviation.
Now, a lot of persons never even realize that there is a little airport in St. Elizabeth. We are about to spend $100 million to overlay the runway and to put in a little terminal building, because that now is our investment in opening up the South Coast tourism.
This is our largest domestic airport, seated in the popular fast-paced streets of Kingston. And so far, about $20 million has been spent to fix the runway, put in a pilot's lounge, and purchase new firefighting equipment for the facility. But the upgrading continues.
Now we are moving to complete the fencing along the train line at Tinsupen.
Domestic flights continue to be facilitated on the airstrip of Ken Jones Aerodrome, found just 10 kilometers off the town of Port Antonio, especially seeing how pilots can now enjoy a newly built pilot's lounge.
We also are working to complete the fencing on that facility, and of course we have to paint it up. The chairman insisted that the thing have to look good so that when people pass you feel good and understand that Jamaicans are invested in Jamaica.
So while air, land and sea remains the pillars of modern mobility, it's safe to say that aviation has truly been at the forefront of the movement, grabbing the labels of reliability and good speed. And of course, all this is being continued with the plans our government has to develop the future of aviation in Jamaica.
There is so much available to us in general aviation, and we are making use of it.
It's absolutely critical that we receive the vaccines. You will see hospitalizations and indeed deaths likely come down. And so there is a lot of value to be gained by getting as many vulnerables on board as possible. So tell your mothers, tell your aunts, listen out for yourselves if you're over 60, and take the vax, because the vax is what will help you to guard against the COVID virus, and indeed help your relatives, your friends, those who you come in contact with, for the same benefit.
COVID-19 is still in widespread circulation across the island and is causing severe illness and deaths. In this next feature, health experts provide answers to your questions on the vaccine, which is one of the key safeguards against these worst outcomes from the disease.
Vaccination is not new to Jamaica. The fears of vaccination, I believe, especially given the situation with this pandemic, are to a large degree unfounded, because we have our own history to rely on. And indeed, with new births in the island, it is our public health requirement that they are vaccinated for various diseases, and that goes on almost on a daily basis. And we do go back to the clinics for vaccination for booster shots.
This is a disease that we have to take seriously. Many people, it is true, luckily, the majority of persons who get COVID may have some symptoms, some have no symptoms at all, especially if you're young. But if you are older, then as many as 1 out of 6 who gets COVID, who is over 70 years of age, is likely to die. And if you're over 80 years of age, then 1 out of 4 may die. So our best hope to control this epidemic is the vaccine. Now, I have the privilege of being on the World Health Organization working group that is reviewing all the vaccines that have been prepared to protect people against COVID. We've looked at this vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine. The World Health Organization has approved it as highly effective and safe.
If I take the vaccine, then I personally am safe from the disease. But if I'm the only one that takes the vaccine, it doesn't really do any public good, because the disease, the virus, is still around and still infecting. And indeed, though I am vaccinated and I may not get ill, I could still carry the virus. This is the beginning of the end. It is not the end. We are right there now, where if we behave responsibly, personally responsible, and as a community responsible, then we can bring the end of this pandemic earlier. A few things that we have to understand. One, it is the scarcity of the supply. Once you introduce pricing as a means of rationing how the vaccine is distributed, then what it means is that people who can afford the price will get it, and those who can't won't. And that is not good for social stability. The second issue is to ensure proper regulation, right? We need to be able, with certainty, that the persons, that we have captured the information of the persons who got the vaccine, and be able at very short notice with, if anything went wrong, especially in terms of the batches and how they are distributed. So tracking is important.
We're asking that the country, all of our people, support us. When it's time to be vaccinated, let's do it in the orderly manner that we can. Let's make ourselves, our entire country, proud of just us accepting the vaccine and doing it the way we know we should. And remember, we're trying our very best to ensure that no one is left behind.
This Sunday on Get the Facts.
Generally, as a society, Jamaicans have a fear of math, and that is still one of the issues that we are contending with. Yeah. We see some of our teachers struggling with it, less so at the secondary level. We work a lot with teachers. We do webinars for teachers, and certainly in the context of the pandemic, we've offered a lot of free webinars for students.
That's Get the Facts this Sunday. Join us to hear the Education Ministry's plans to improve math skills across all education levels.
Not just for beautiful smiles, but also for supporting proper nutrition and disease prevention. It's important to take care of your oral health. Let us now explore the problems you might encounter and how to care for your mouths.
Dental health is really important because the mouth is the entry point of nutrition in our bodies. And if it is not functioning properly, then we run the risk of not getting the correct nutrition. Actually, we refer more so to oral health these days than dental health. If we have bad teeth that impair our ability to chew properly, then we will tend to keep away from certain food groups that could be challenging to chew. People with bad oral hygiene, people who use and eat and drink a lot of sweets, you can have decay, and you can also have, along with it, periodontal gum disease. You know, the big one that jump out at me is periodontal disease, gum disease. That is when the gum begin to be bleedy, sore, puffy, and just generally uncomfortable. It carries some social consequences, bad breath, and you tend to lose self-confidence. It's so important to have a consultation with your dental personnel, whether the dental surgeon or the hygienist, who would be able to diagnose the needed treatment for such a condition. All sugars are bad, but everything is in moderation. The Jamaica Dental Association endorsed the efforts of the government in reducing the levels of sugar in the bottled beverages. The aim is to get it to 2.5 milligrams in 100 mils by the year 2023. It would be roughly 2.5 teaspoonful. The current level that the government has aimed for, and it was introduced the end of January, is 5 milligrams per 100 mils. So that is coming from 6.5, so it's a gradual reduction. And the taste will be not so significantly different. As a dentist, I recommend the soft, but I'm aware that a lot of patients tend towards the harder ones. It does some damage by cutting a little line at the neck of the teeth, just where the teeth meet the gum line. So we recommend the soft toothbrush. It's really important to begin by putting the brush on the gum. A lot of people avoid the gum because they tend to think that it makes the gum bleedy. It's the exact opposite. It is as a result of not brushing the gum why there is some amount of bleediness. And you should brush in the direction of growth. The top ones, you brush them down in a circular motion, and the bottom ones, you brush them up, covering all surfaces. Don't forget your tongue and, as I said before, the gum itself. Flossing is very, very important. If you try to imagine that the toothbrush does not get between the teeth, the only thing that can remove the material that will accumulate between the teeth would be the dental floss. The technique is also important. Hold it short, get it past that little tight area, and gently bring it down into the gum, that little crevice of the gum, and remove it. Remove material that might have accumulated there. And we recommend 6 monthly checkup. If you tend to be prone to decays, we would really like to see you every 6 months. If you have been checked and you are pretty much okay, a yearly visit would be adequate. Extraction really is the last resort. With regular examination, we can pick up using x-rays and visual examination early decays, and these can be effectively dealt with by regular fillings. If it has gone too far and it is now in the nerve, there are other procedures called root canals that can be done. And sometimes we need to cover the entire tooth with a crown to bring it back to usefulness. If your teeth are malaligned, just not aesthetically pleasing, or are causing some kind of effect on your body, then they should be straightened. Orthodontic treatment or braces simply mean moving the teeth through bone to put them in a more harmoniously pleasing position. It's important because you are moving teeth through bone, and the harmony between the joint, the soft tissues and the teeth must be respected. Not respecting it can result in pain in the joint, headaches, and just a general sense of discomfort in your mouth. It's important to visit your dentist regularly and without fear, because with new technology, and we now have many new dentists in our system, where it's not difficult to get an appointment to see a dentist on a regular basis. There's always a needle, but outside of that, there's absolutely no pain.
The government of Jamaica and its partners invite you to participate in the 7th Regional Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in the Americas and the Caribbean Virtual Conference from November 1 to 4. Register online before October 20. Together, we are building resilient economies in the Americas and the Caribbean. Register, join the conversation, and let's take action for a cause.
Online or remote learning has become the norm in this era of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. While many students have grasped and settled in this new mode of learning, others need a bit of mentoring, even from their peers. And that is what we're offering in this next feature.
It's now been our reality for over a year. In-person learning replaced by online engagement. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect how we interface, students are learning to adapt to this new era of education. Many are coping well, but some simply have not. In today's feature, we will highlight how 12-year-old Thea Nango is helping her schoolmates cope with online learning. Thean is a grade 7 student at the Denby High School in Clarendon. She recently came to the aid of her schoolmates after creating a video to help them cope with virtual classes.
I noticed that some of my students were coping while majority of my students were not coping so well. So I decided to ask the ones who are coping to share their strategy. And Tia Nango was the most outstanding one.
In her roughly 1 minute and 20 seconds video, Thean can be seen outlining to her classmates the steps she takes to prepare for online class.
Well, for me, I prepare for online class by waking up early in the mornings, about 5 a.m. I do my chores, practice proper hygiene, and eat a balanced diet. And I also get ready for my class at 8 a.m.
She then goes further to list 9 tips they can use to have a successful virtual session.
9 tips you can do to have a fun and educational online class. Number 1, practice time management. Number 2, eliminate distractions. Number 3, stay motivated. Number 4, limit social media. Number 5, figure out how you learn your best. Number 6, hold yourself accountable. Number 7, make the most of online class discussions. Number 8, always be ready for any activity. And last, Set a major goal that you want to achieve.
This video was very helpful to my students in particular. I shared it with my students during form time, and I noticed that the students were more open and willing to share the things that they were experiencing. Students are participating a little better, rather they're interested in participating, they want to assist with completing tasks. So I realized that the students are a little more interested in school.
I feel very happy in myself that I could get to help someone in my classroom to cope with it better.
As a result of her form class's positive response to Thean's video, Ms. Blake decided to share it with the school's grade 7 coordinator.
I shared her video. I shared it with the grade coordinator so they can share it in the different grade 7 WhatsApp group. She was very excited about the video. She was like, "This is really good, Miss Blake. This is a great idea." So she shared it with the other students.
The fact that Thean was able to put together such a useful video that is now helping her entire grade came as no surprise to her form teacher and parents, who have always regarded her as a hardworking, responsible, and focused student.
Thean possesses one quality that I think is missing in most students: passion. She's passionate about school, passionate about learning. I can count on Thean if I'm not there to send me a message to say, "Miss, I'm in class and I'm not seeing you." And I'll be like, "Thean, I'm on my way, don't worry." Just a little delay with my internet because sometimes that happens. Thean is an assistant for monitor for the class. She is very active. She completes her tasks effectively. One of her tasks is to post the names of the students in the WhatsApp group so that the parents can see the names of the students who are present for the day. And she's always on time. I can say so far her grades are in 80 and above. Excellent grades. So she's doing really well in school.
Her father and I are so proud of her, and the whole family feel proud of what she does. So I'm happy and I'm giving God thanks that she will continue to perform.
The aspiring lawyer and soldier has pledged to continue to excel in her studies so that she can further make herself, her parents, and teachers proud.
I want to continue doing well at Denby for my few years ahead, and I wish to help other students at Denby that are coming up in my generation now. And I can't achieve that without studying and my family and friends and the Lord with me.
For Thean, I wish her all the best, and I want to encourage her to continue to work hard and to do her best at all times. For my students, I want to encourage them to follow the tips carefully, continue to do their best, and it doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter where they're placed, whether it's online or physical, they can do it.
We've come to the end of Jamaica Magazine for today. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another show. Until then, there is more to watch on our website, jis.gov.jm or YouTube channel. You can also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson, urging you to take the COVID-19 vaccine, wear your mask, keep your distance where possible, wash your hands, or sanitize, and do stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.